In today's live stream video, my guest and I are going to discuss how you can improve your sales in your e-commerce store. When I have a live stream, I usually interview another reseller and have them share their tips, tricks, and techniques to help make us more profitable and knowledgeable resellers. So if you're interested in reselling, then you are in the right place. In today's live stream video, we're going to discuss the new USPS shipping category, as well as discuss some other topics related to reselling. Going to say hello to a few people in the chat, and we shall get started very shortly. See if I know it's Saturday, and quite a few people are out, yard selling and whatnot. I know Glenn was here earlier. Thank you, Glenn, for being here. I'm sure our other regulars will be here shortly. The people watching the replay, I want you to wait, so we shall get started, and I'm sure people will be joining us as we go along. So we shall get started. I wanted to introduce my guest today. My guest today is Randy Fasig, and Randy is a friend of mine and colleague. Randy has been a reseller, business owner, and entrepreneur for many years. So let's bring Randy on, and we shall get started. Hello, sir.
Hello, Adam. Hello, everybody out there, or at least two people, or however many you're in the chat.
Hello, Big Thrift Philly. Good to see you. I was looking at one of his shorts or videos the other day. Good to see you.
South Street.
Oh, it's South Street? Okay. Well, we won't get into. We'll try to keep the reselling, but obviously, people in this area know about the issue with I-95, being closed and reopening, and so I don't know if we can tie it into reselling, but the governor said we get S done around here. So,
well, they're rebuilding that bridge with styrofoam
and glass composites. Yes, that's how they built the base. Yep.
Speaking of it, when I heard that, I thought, well, maybe I should bring in a friend of mine, Mr. Whitehead. And so I did.
Mr. Whitehead? Why is Mr. Whitehead here?
Mr. Whitehead is part of the 12-step program. Now, it's kind of weird because you can't even see Mr. Whitehead.
Yeah, he's all faded, but...
he does have a nose and eyes and...
Exactly.
Everything, except he doesn't have a head that can think. But anyway, it's part of the 12-step program.
Yeah, guys, we're going to discuss the new USPS shipping that goes into effect July 9th. Randy is much more skilled and knowledgeable about this than I am, so I'm going to have Randy kind of handle that. So, which would you prefer to talk about first, sir? Would you like to talk about the shipping, or you want to talk about the 12-step program?
Well, let's talk about the shipping.
Okay. I'm going to share a couple slides with you guys. You may not be able to see this as well as great on the screen. I did make them in the slides, but if any of you would like this information, my email address is in the description of the video. So just email me, and I will ship you or should say send you. I got shipping on my mind. I will send you a copy of these rates. So let me add that to the stream. We'll make that full screen. Like I said, you won't be able to see it that well, but as we're talking about it, we'll discuss that. So, Randy, why don't you tell us a little bit about it and what it's called and what's involved in it and your thoughts on it?
Actually, I don't even remember what it's called. But basically, it's the same thing with slower shipping. It is
called, and let me interrupt you, it's called USPS Ground Advantage.
Yeah, what's in a name? As with anything with the government, absolutely nothing. The Affordable Care Act wasn't affordable, and the new shipping rates aren't an advantage. They're actually a disadvantage. They tell you they're going to ship everything and it's going to get to wherever in a maximum of 5 days. I think they're lying to me. I think it's going to get there in 10 days. But it is what it is. I mean, the good thing is that pretty much all the rates have kind of stayed the same. They really haven't changed noticeably. They could have changed noticeably because with Ground Advantage, used to start at about 16 ounces instead of 4 ounces. So, the 4, the 8, the 12, and the 15.99 are still the same. The prices are pretty much still the same. There's going to be some prices in the pound range, depending on the size of your shipment, the size of your package. It'll actually be less expensive for a while. But again, it's going to go up twice a year. The good thing is you're really not going to need to change a whole lot this time. I'm expecting a greater than average rollout when we get to the heavy shipping season coming in like October. But we're going to see that with FedEx, and we're going to see it with UPS. UPS, I think, is going to avert the strike.
That was my next question. You read my mind.
Yeah, I mean, primarily what they want is air conditioning in their trucks. And
you can't blame them. I mean, especially like, I mean, not that, well, I guess I interrupted you, but like people like, I was watching the chat or the other night and people were like in Florida or in another live stream. Actually, it was today, I think. And they were saying, oh, yeah, we're in Florida. It's like 95 today and humid. So, you know how it is in Florida, obviously. I mean, you've lived in Florida part of your life. I mean, how are these guys supposed to be, obviously they try to keep, hydrated, but that's ridiculous that they have to drive around in these trucks. I hear them coming down the street and bang, 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 bang with the doors open. That's a tip too, guys. As an aside, I talk about that all the time on this channel. We talk about networking and then trying to bind a little bit with the people that you deal with. Keep in mind that like UPS drivers, postal carriers, FedEx drivers, Amazon drivers, Goodwill, thrift shop employees. Try to be a little friendly with them. Try to help them out. Maybe you have your USPS mail carrier comes and picks your packages up for you. Well, maybe you have like a little cooler. If you have like a little shrub or something behind your shrub, have a little cooler with some ice cold beverages for them. I mean, it goes a long way. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but with my ADD, I wanted to discuss that before I forgot it.
I think it's a very good idea. I get pretty good treatment from most of my mail carriers, from people at the post office. Not at the main post office. I think they're a bunch of idiots. But because they're not accountable to anybody.
True.
So, that's unfortunate. But and that's going to be part of what we talk about today in the near the end for the 12-step program. An area that really needs to be cleaned out is primarily your head.
Well, we're still on the new shipping. I just want to bring up, and I'm sure most of you are very experienced resellers. You already know this, but back in the day they stopped using air for first class shipping, and Randy and I were talking about this pre-chat. So basically, we discussed that they did away with air on first class packages, and now there's no more first class. Or they're combining it with the ground select. So like Randy says, he's anticipating 5 to 10 days. Is that what you're anticipating for delivery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in other words, there's no more air, which we already knew they weren't doing that, and basically they're combining it with ground select, so it's going to be even slower, probably more than likely, I would assume.
Postal Service doesn't own any airplanes.
Right. We're talking about that also. You were saying that they use UPS and FedEx shipping for their air.
Right. And Louis DeJoy is somebody who has done shipping all his life. So I think we'll see that will become more efficient for USPS as time goes on. But it's not necessarily going to get better for you. It's primarily going to get better for them.
Right.
And, you want your vendors to stay in business, because if they go out of business, you're SOL. And yes, UPS will definitely go up, as they always do. But adding air conditioning to those trucks adds a cost.
Sure.
And they're going to pass that cost on to you, just like you pass the cost on to your buyers.
That's a good reminder as well, that you're talking about passing the cost on to your buyers. We often say there's no such thing as free shipping. If you do have free shipping in your item, obviously you're incorporating the shipping cost into the price of what you're selling the item for. But again, I tell you guys things, and I know most of you are experienced resellers, but I'm trying to grow this channel a little bit with some newer resellers. I want to remind them that keep in mind on certain platforms such as eBay, you are paying commission on your shipping fees. So even if you include, have $9.99 for your item and $9.99 shipping, you're basically paying commission on that $20 sale. And keep in mind now, I believe I'm 99% sure of this, that eBay is actually charging you the promoted rate as well on the shipping. That's correct?
I believe so.
I know back in the day they weren't, and then they started charging you the commission or final value fee, and then plus the promoted value fees as well on the shipping. Thanks for joining us, Michelle. Good to see you. Okay, so basically your interpretation of this all is that they're combining the two programs. Right now, the pricing is very similar. Some things are going up a little bit. Some things are actually going down a little bit. Then the bottom line is that the shipping will probably just be slowed down a little bit for this type of service.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a noticeable difference if you ship large, heavy items. I don't think you're going to see a noticeable difference in small, lightweight items.
Okay, well, that makes sense. And, and you also said previously that for those of you that weren't aware, probably most of you are aware, USPS, UPS, United Parcel Service, who are Teamsters, were threatening to go on strike. And when is their contract up? Is it the end of July?
I think so.
And they were threatening to go on strike, and that could create all kind of havoc. So,
yeah, that's an old Teamster ploy anyway.
Yeah.
Believe me, I know.
Yeah, we won't get into too much, but Randy and I talk offline, and he knows a lot about Teamsters. His family knew a lot of Teamsters, and he's very familiar with the Teamsters. So, but anyway, hopefully that will not happen, because a lot of resellers and businesses now are using UPS and FedEx because of the prices going up on the USPS shipping and the reliability of it. Back during the day of the pandemic, there was a lot of things like you were said, tens of thousands of pieces missing, delayed, and then we would get dings from the various e-commerce sites because they blamed us because the items weren't being delivered.
Yeah, I get more packages back that says no delivery box available, which is really kind of nonsense for the simple reason everybody has a delivery box. If they don't, they pick up their mail at the post office. And I hope they know where the post office is to deliver the mail.
Right.
I've been highly critical of the post office. In fact, I moved most of my business away from the post office. I still have good friends there, but it is what it is. And you know what? You're going to have to live with it. You can complain all you want, but all that does is take up your time. It's not going to change. I have a dedicated person who calls me every week from USPS and asks me if I have any issues. And I can tell you, I could spend hours on the phone with them. But I don't.
Well, your time is valuable. You want to be spending it on other things, correct?
It's not going to change. Things are what they are. You might as well just live with it and, move on. Don't really set your mind and concentrate on it, because all you're going to do is get depressed, and it's going to take your focus away from what you do. Think about good things and not bad things.
I have a friend, and he can compartmentalize things and just say, like we were discussing, and I know that I let things bother me, and I shouldn't, but like you said, what's done is done. We have no control over it, so no use fretting over it. I say often on this channel that anything that's permanent is changed. So, hey, there is no more first-class shipping as of July 9th. So deal with it. find out what the rates are. Change your shipping policies. Obviously, you're in your store. So, I mean, there is no more first class shipping. So if you have something listed as first class shipping as of July 9th, there is no more first class shipping. So you got to make an adjustment. It's going to be called first class. Parcel. I can't even talk today. UPS Ground Advantage. I'm trying to combine the two, and that's basically what they did. USPS Ground Advantage. So there's no more first class package service and Parcel Select Ground. They just basically merged, even the name basically. They just called it USPS
and there's
Ground
really
Advantage.
There's no more advantage.
There's no more advantage.
So you can call it an advantage, but it's not.
Right. Glenn said Tommy Bernard, the Tommy Bernard podcast. Tom used to be a UPS driver. Yeah. Too many UPSs and UPSs. I'm all fumbled all over my terminology.
Now, I'll tell you what. Most people do not realize that working for UPS, depending on what you do, is a really poor job.
Huh?
You can make more at McDonald's than you can at certain jobs at UPS. If you're a loader, you're at a $15 an hour job. I mean, basically, you're almost at minimum wage.
That's a backbreaking job.
Yeah. So it's not a really great job. It's only until you move in to the next level that you even have anything at all. Yeah, they have good benefits. They got good pay depending on what position they have. They also work for it. Believe me, every package they pick up and deliver is counted in seconds. And they better get things done in the right time, or else they got a supervisor riding with them. It's not that great of a place to work, and you know what? To have them have a decent attitude when they deliver to you, that takes a lot. It says a lot about a person.
Yeah, that's why I say something simple as maybe having a bottle of cold spring water or water for these drivers to say, hey, I appreciate you. You're doing a great job. I know it's hot outside here. Here's a bottle of cold water for you.
Yeah. I mean, water is cheap.
I know because I'm cheap. I've been pricing out how much it costs me for a bottle of spring water at Sam's and how much it costs me for the big gallon jug. So I know what it costs. I'm at about a penny an ounce now. But yeah, so
and if you have a bad driver, leave him an empty bottle. No, don't do that.
No, we don't leave him a bad bottle. You're on the road at 8 p.m., Glenn. Where do you're going? You're traveling somewhere. You're going on a vacation. Where are you going? For those of you that don't know, Glenn is Swamp Picker. He's in Louisiana, Baton Rouge. I think I got it right this time. It's Baton Rouge, right, Glenn? I screwed up last time. I said New Orleans. It's Baton Rouge. He's near Baton Rouge. But
hey, I spent 2 weeks in Okefenokee.
I've heard of the Okefenokee Swamp, but I don't really know much about it.
Where it is, the Okefenokee Swamp. Hotel rooms down there back then were $6 a night. And I'll tell you what.
Oh, USPS drivers. Okay. Oh, they go on the road at 8 p.m. at night around you, Glenn? Okay. Yeah, like I said, I hear them coming down my street with those trucks. They just hear them bang, 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 bang. I said, those poor guys are bouncing all over the place. And like I said, they don't have any air conditioning.
Yeah.
I think that
driving a UPS truck is not
it's not the greatest.
A nice luxury car. That's
right.
Sure. I mean,
even the Amazon drivers, they have air conditioning. Well, a lot of the Amazon drivers now are independent contractors. That's the other thing that they set into motion. Amazon, Jeff Bezos is always looking to save a dime. But anyway, so there's anything else you want to discuss about like I said, just a reminder, and I know some of you have joined the show after we started. You'll be watching the replay. I do have a picture, or I should say a slide, or what you want to call it, a document that shows the new shipping with the USPS. So, and again, that goes into effect July 9th. basically midnight, July 8th. It goes in effect on July 9th. So if you want access to those rates, I'll be more than happy to email them to you. My email address is in my description of the video, but basically it's just AdamsExploits@gmail.com. So if you want a copy of that, the shipping rates, I'll be more than happy to send that to you.
Yeah, because
Was there anything else?
Be able to see it on the screen.
Yeah, it's difficult to see on the screen. Was there anything else you want to discuss about that? You want to move on to something else?
No, I think it's fairly straightforward and simple. It's not a whole lot of change from what you're doing. The only change is a change that you're not going to see, and that's just the matter of time it takes to get your package there.
Right, the delivery is going to be slowed, and the most important thing for us, because you're saying that the rates are not really going up that much right now, but as a reseller, keep in mind if you have policies or shipping, you have to change that because there is no more first class and there is no more ground select with USPS as of July 9th. So if you have shipping policies, you're going to have to change that, or you're going to have a problem because you won't be able to ship it because those categories don't exist anymore. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. I mean, it took 2 days to get a priority package from here to Philadelphia. It takes me 40 minutes to drive there.
Well, you were telling me what with Canada, with Walmart, it's super quick.
Yeah, I ship a package to Canada, and it's actually in the customer's hands in 2 days.
That's insane.
And it doesn't matter where it is in Canada.
Right.
Except maybe the really outlying areas.
And who do they use? FedEx?
Yeah, I use FedEx for all my Canadian shipments. And like I said, it takes 2 days to get there. It takes 2 days to get to Philly from the post office. That'll give you a hint.
Yeah.
I mean, FedEx is not always 100%, but they're a lot more 100% than the post office. And
True.
Probably on par with UPS.
As a side note, I didn't watch the video, but you guys know that watch YouTube. I watch more. I watch very little TV anymore. I watch 99% YouTube. I had one of the suggested videos was a reseller actually buying unclaimed, quote unquote, unclaimed packages from the USPS. So that's obviously things that they screwed up on and have lost. And I guess they make money off of that. But it's crazy. There's put this up on the screen, Randy. It might be easier for you to see it. I'll read that. Randy one time had a package going to North Philly. He lives in South Philly. He goes, took over 2 weeks to get to the guy. Package ended up in Florida. It was a few years back around the holidays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy has a bunch of horror stories because Randy is shipping out. Just give us a ballpark, like on average, how many packages you ship per day?
Believe me, it's a lot. I don't even count anymore.
Right.
But
hundreds of packages. Hundreds.
You can pay the bill.
Right.
With the post office, you're the only ones allowed to ship cremains. They have special boxes, and they're supposedly shipped next day.
Cremains are cremated remains.
Okay. Right. People they burned and turned into
the cremated, and you have to ship it, right?
Ashes.
Right.
Okay. And anyway, lady had one of her relatives that were cremated in Florida, and she had the cremains shipped to her, and it took 6 weeks to get from Florida to Pennsylvania via overnight mail.
Via overnight, quote unquote, overnight mail.
Right. I sent a package, a letter 3 miles away on the same street as my warehouse, and I got it back 4 months later.
They said it was undeliverable or something, right?
Yeah, it says it was. And that they actually investigated because, believe it or not, the post office has their own police department.
Well, I know they have postal inspectors. Is that what is that, or is that separate?
No, that's separate. They actually
Okay.
have a legal enforcement team.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that. See that,
Well,
guys? Every day you learn something new is a good day. Not that it would ever apply to me. I don't plan on doing something illegal with the post office. But that's another tip too. When we're talking about shipping and stuff, why don't you just remind us? And again, I know anyone that watches my channel would never do this, but why don't you just touch on the people that are shipping things out within proper categories, and then or shipping things out and then claiming something weighs, it's 12 by whatever, and they're saying, oh no, it's not really 12 by 8 by 8. It's 8 by 6 by 4, and it's not really a pound and 1 ounce. It's like 14 ounces. Why don't you explain to that and what happens to people that do that?
basically, you're going to get charged back anyway, and you're going to get charged back the full rate instead of your discounted rate.
Doesn't sometimes, I've never had this happen because I'm always very careful with that, but doesn't a lot of times the consumer gets charged too, right? They have like a postage due on the shipping?
They're not supposed to, but they do.
Oh, they're not supposed to? Okay.
And you might as well remember that when they do, you're going to get a negative.
Oh, absolutely.
And believe me, they're not going to take the negative off.
Oh, no, absolutely not. They're going to do that.
The thing that they check the most is media mail.
I was going to bring up media mail was my next thing I was going to bring up after you finished. Yeah, a lot of unscrupulous shippers are doing that. They're shipping stuff as media mail when it's not.
Primarily, media mail was designed back in the day when we used libraries, and you got a book from one library sent to another library that you dealt with because they didn't have it. So it came in at a ridiculously low rate, a lot lower than what it is now, obviously.
Right.
So, you're not supposed to ship anything that has advertising in it.
So like magazines, you're not allowed to ship magazines because they have advertising in them.
You can't ship magazines. You can't ship video games. There are a lot of things. I mean, primarily it was made to ship educational material. And
textbooks, that type of thing.
Yeah. And they're going to check that more than they check anything else. And they do have the ability to prosecute. We haven't seen major cases of it yet, but I would suggest use first class.
Yeah.
Don't use media mail. First of all, media mail will take a couple of weeks to get there. And media mail has a better chance of getting lost. And believe me, if they open it up, they're not responsible for the condition of it. You probably won't get it back. Right. It'll probably end up in a pile of the land of the lost. But
as a side note, there is no more first class as July 9th, since we're on that topic. It's called USPS Ground Advantage. It's got to drum that into my brain, a brain of mine. I got to drum that in to remember the name.
Being dishonest has a lot to say about you, not them.
Look at Michelle's thing. Oh my cow. She had a package headed for Canada and wound up in South Korea. Oh my word. You talk about being misshipped. My word, that's insane, isn't it?
Package that is a world traveler.
Well, I hear stories all the time with other resellers that I even friends that aren't even resellers. I hear stories, oh, I got something I ordered on eBay, and I'm in Pennsylvania. The seller was in New York. It went to Florida, or went to Texas, then it went to New Jersey, and then it finally came to Pennsylvania. It took like 3 weeks.
I had a package that took 17 weeks, but that was actually the fault of the person who sent it back, because I sent them a package. I sent them a return label. Instead of covering the return label, instead of covering the original label with the return label, they put it on the other side of the package. So it went back and forth like a ping pong tournament.
Oh, my word.
And it took quite a few weeks to get here.
And they blamed you. Blamed you, of course, right?
I had one that took over a year, and believe it or not, it was chocolate, and it was not melted, which is rare.
I don't know how that happened, but okay. I believe you. I don't know how it happened, but.
But either way, I mean, there used to be a time when your postal worker, he delivered your mail to you for 35 years, so he knew who you were. You didn't even need to address it right. I had mail that was sent to me, and the only thing it said on the envelope was Fasig's, Allentown. And I
They
got
didn't have
there.
a street address or anything. Just
There
well,
were no street addresses.
no
There
zip
was
code, no nothing.
zip code, anything.
Wow.
And it got there because it used to be you always had the same person. You didn't have 25 different mail carriers in 3 years. That no longer exists.
Like I've said that multiple times on my channel. We don't have local mail carriers anymore. They come out of a regional center. I usually have the same carrier, I guess, for about the last year and a half. Probably 3 or 4 days out of 6 is the same mail carrier. But they don't come out of my local post office. They come out of a regional center. So they have a regional sorting center, and then they have a regional distribution center. So I guess they must sort it at the big center and then ship it to the regional quote unquote shipping center, and then the carriers are dispatched from there. So that's the problem too. If you're getting packages picked up, you don't have a regular carrier. They don't know. Like, I mean, a shout out Beth, Reseller Robot. I always shout out Beth. I have to give her a heads up. Beth says often she'll have like her not regular mail carrier, and they never pick up her packages. Then of course that hurts her metrics for shipping on time.
Yeah, we all have good stories and bad stories from the post office. More bad stories than good, unfortunately, lately. I mean, at one time, the post office was actually really good. It was so good that we based our whole business on their packaging.
Okay, guys, we're going to move on to the next topic. I just want to remind you, some of you that may have come in the chat or watch later or watching the replay, if you want a copy of the new rates for the USPS that go into effect July 9th, you can just email me. Again, my email address is in the description of the video, and I'll be more than happy to send you out the new rates via email. So, okay, sir, why don't we move on to the next category? You wanted to talk about your program that we had started a while ago, the Reseller 12-step program?
Into the 12-step resellers program.
Okay.
We talked about cleaning out your office and cleaning out your desk and cleaning out your warehouse, cleaning out your eBay store, doing a heck of a lot of cleaning, but the one thing we never really talked about was Mr. Whitehead, cleaning out your head. Now, Mr. Whitehead just today came out of the closet because that's where I store him. But nonetheless, what is in your head? I think it's all cluttered up. I think there's a whole bunch of clutter in there. And you know what? As long as that clutter is in there, you really can't think straight. You really can't keep your mind on your business. It slows you up because you got to move around all this and that. You got to move around the guy who gave you a negative. Once in a while, everybody's going to give you a negative. Otherwise, you're giving out all kinds of stuff. Well, you know what? Sometimes people deserve free things, but not every time. In fact, rarely do they deserve free things. Sometimes you mess up. You know what? If they don't mess up, they have the right to give you a negative. But I remember this guy, he remember that saying, I'll be back. Who said that?
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh, no, it was Jesus.
Oh, okay. Okay, it was Jesus, all right.
There was a bunch of guys in a circle, and
okay,
the nice woman of the night, and they all picked up stones because, that was the manner of execution.
I thought it was I'll be back. Bad invitation, but I'm sorry, kid.
I don't think Jesus said
Jesus didn't talk like that, no.
Maybe that blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus did, but
okay.
The other one, I don't think so. But anyway, they picked up and he said, you know what? Anybody here without any fault, go ahead and throw the stones. That's paraphrasing, but
he who has not sinned cast the first stone.
Yeah.
That's pretty close. Not that we're a religious program. I don't want to offend anybody that's not a Christian, but go ahead.
But nonetheless, it doesn't get you anywhere. I mean, how many times have you called up concierge or customer service or whatever you want to call it? Okay. And finally, by the time you got off the phone, you were more irritated than before you called. You know what? If your record is so important to you, that's fine, but it's really not. I mean, yes, it does reflect on you. And yes, you get irritated. And I don't expect you not to get irritated. But you know what? That's all part of that clutter that's up here. And you want to get rid of it. It's really not worth it. And I said, and I get irritated because I have people that I watch rarely, but I still watch them now and then. And to see the nonsense, what they're doing is, remember I bought that plant and I said about, how to nurture the plant. And
tomato plant. Yep.
Yeah, well, there's one thing you need to grow plants. You need manure. And if
we'll call it fertilizer.
Yeah. But one place where there's a whole lot of fertilizer is on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. But you put too much manure on a plant and it's going to burn and die. And that's what it's like with a lot of sellers. They say, well, you can do 40 listings a day. No, you can't. Maybe if you're listing one item.
If you're listing CDs, maybe, and you have templates, but if you're listing clothing or a combination of things, no.
To stress yourself out and do more than what is manageable for you. Every one of us is different. Yes. Hey, I had days when I listed 800 to 1,000 items, but it's not every day. I heard things like, well, you should list 40 items a day, and if you miss a day, you should list 80 items the day you miss it. If you can't list 40, you're not going to list 80. Okay? Think. The stress level will not even allow you to list 20 that day because you're trying too hard. All you're going to do is get frustrated. Clean out your head and make manageable piles. If you say, you know what, I can do 4 a day and then I'm kind of burned out. Fine. Do 4 a day. That's better than doing none a day. It's better than trying to do 30 and get burned out in basically a week or less than a week. These guys who telling you they're doing hundreds, and I used to see somebody and they say, look how fast you can do it. Well, you can lay it here, take a picture, flip it over, take another picture, and in less than a minute, you have it listed. No, you don't.
What are the quality of those pictures? Were they editing those pictures, or were they just,
Take a look at a lot of those pictures on
terrible.
eBay. You can barely see the item.
They're out of focus, right? They're not lined up properly. Yep.
They
don't look professional. That's something you brought up in the series time and time again. Make your store look professional, like it's a business.
I used to have a friend that he had kids, and he used to take them to the playground, and what he did was he said, you know what, do you want to go up to the playground up the street, or do you want to go up to the secret playground? Well, the kids obviously always wanted to go up to the secret playground. Well, there was nothing secret about the secret playground. It just took a little longer to get there. But each time they wanted to go to the secret playground. That's kind of how you need to have your store. A little bit of bull will fertilize the plant. So make your store something special, even if it's not. It's special to somebody. Obviously, it's special to you. Treat it that way. And treat this that way, too. It's something special.
Try to clean out the clutter, not just in your cash pile or death pile, but in your mind, if you can. Don't, like you were saying, don't fret over. Returns, unfortunately, are part of the business. Don't get all wound up. I mean, I know I do. I get upset when things like that happen. Or Beth and I were talking offline earlier in the week. Shout out again, Beth. She had misplaced. She has this new great inventory system, and she had misplaced 2 items. And that never happens to Beth, ever, ever, ever. It's never happened ever for her, especially not with the new system. And it happened. And for the newer resellers, most of the experienced resellers know this. But what you do is you reach out to, I'm talking about eBay because that's why I sell on eBay. You reach out to the buyer on eBay using eBay's messaging system, and you say, unfortunately, your item is no longer available. Would you like to cancel that item? Or would you like me to ship you something else from my store? I have a coupon for, and then X amount. Beth uses 50%. If you want to use 30, 40, 50%. I think she uses 50% because it seems more attractive, especially if it's your mistake. If you can't find something, that's your screw up. That's not the buyer's. That's the buyer's error. So, and then you get they get the buyer to cancel it, and then you don't get that ding on your account. And Beth had those two people. The first person right away, yes, absolutely, cancel it, no problem. The second buyer, she sent them like two or three messages, and they respond. And that's what you got to do. So if you're a newer seller, that's why when they bring that up, that's how you handle it. You basically say the buyer canceled, and you offer them an incentive, such as like 50% off. You tell them it's on one item. They might try to, order 4 or 5 or 6 items. We tell them one item, I'll give you 50% off. It was my error. I appreciate you, cooperating with me.
I had a woman who bought 6 items one time, and then she gave me probably a good half dozen excuses why she couldn't buy them. And I just had a really strange feeling. So I refunded her on those. Then I sent all her items that she ordered to her free of charge. And I said, you know what? I don't know what your situation is, and I don't do this to everybody. But I just feel these are things you need to have. If you can afford to pay me sometime, then pay me. If you can't, just keep this as a gift. And lo and behold, 6 weeks later, she paid me more than what the items cost.
Wow.
Her.
So she was on some kind of fixed income, and she didn't have the money at that time.
She gave me, actually, we talked on the phone, and she had a really hard situation. I won't.
No, I don't have to get into details. No.
Just want me to explain it. But nonetheless, I don't do that all the time. But there are some times when you don't know what somebody's situation is. And you know what? Have a heart. What's it going to take you? Okay. What's it going to hurt? I know people who, they buy they buy into all this charity stuff, but they wouldn't go across the street and give a glass of water to a thirsty UPS driver. Well,
Nope.
What is it if you buy whatever the latest craze is for social justice?
How about the $4,000 virtual reality goggles that Apple has now? $4,000. No, thank you.
So, and part of that is also cleaning out your head. You know what? Your well-being and your feeling about yourself doesn't come necessarily from other people. It comes how you react to the situation. I've had people who were really nasty to me, and in the end, they saved me an awful lot of money because what they were nasty about was true. It was just that I didn't see it, but they did. And they were.
Well, I don't want to get into like real in depth because we have a couple other things we want to talk about. But why don't you share with just a little quick synopsis about? You said you obviously you were a seller, and then you also became your own consumer when you had your coffee shops. Why don't you just give us a little smidget about what happened with that, and you realized you weren't doing things properly?
Yeah, I mean, primarily we all think we're doing good because we only see things from our side of the counter. I was a wholesaler, manufacturer. We roasted coffee. I opened 13 retail stores to see how good we were really doing. And I found out we were lacking quite a bit because now I started to see things from the other side of the counter.
You were seeing it as a buyer side as opposed to the seller side.
And there's a world of difference. You know, I remember in dealing with a lot of things, you know what? UPS was far better than they are today. Oh, you know, they have a lot of new technology and all that, but their attitude is no longer the same. As they grew, their attitude got worse.
Yep.
So, really, did they really get anywhere? I don't care if you're the top dog. Actually, I think FedEx is at this point. But they've gone through the same thing. I've had customers like that, and I'm sure that I've been like that at one point. So everything is how you view it. It's going
Like
to
you
be
said,
your
try
reality.
not to get bogged down in a little minutia and negative things that happen, because if you're a reseller and you sell a lot of items, eventually you're going to get a return. Eventually you're going to lose an item that you want to ship. And eventually, more often than not, a lot of times the shipping is going to be delayed due to unforeseen circumstances you have no control over. It happens. If you can, you try to call eBay and try to get it corrected. You get the ding removed, but bleep happens. So just got to deal with it. Don't like get bogged down with it.
Before you listen to somebody, really listen and then take it apart. Do you really want to pay somebody $100 a month on how to maneuver in a platform that they were suspended on indefinitely? Is that really a
Are you
good
talking
choice?
about Mr. Whatnot?
I'm not talking about anybody in general.
Okay.
I've seen it. I've seen it out there. And a lot of times things sound good. Just remember this when aligning yourself to somebody, and this also comes from the Bible. Bad company corrupts good character. Be careful who you listen to. I'd be careful if somebody sells affiliate products that they're going to do what? Tell me how great that product is because they make change every time you buy that product. Why, I can remember Tom Selleck saying, well, this ain't my first rodeo on reverse mortgages. That was a scam. But old Tom, he wouldn't lie to you. Well, he's Tom Selleck. He plays a cop on TV. He's the honest guy. Yeah. Nah, there aren't that many people honest when it comes to money. Remember that. So before they're trying to sell you what they have down in the little corner of their channel, before they try to get you to go over their Patreon group and get you to pay for what you're getting for free, be careful.
Here's our friend, Miss Lisa. Glad you could join us, Lisa. Lisa,
Michelle.
Instead of Michelle. Lisa, I just wanted to mention to you, I know you're getting here a little late. I always ask you to watch the whole video if you can, but I appreciate you even joining us today. I know we're all very busy. Lisa, the reason I'm bringing this up is Randy and I discussed the new shipping coming from the USPS earlier in the video. And basically it's going to be called a UPS. I keep saying UPS. USPS Ground Advantage. So Randy is kind enough to show me the rates, ship me the an email with the rates on it. So if you do need those rates, if you want to get a little advantage of those and get a jump on that, that goes into effect July 9th, just message me and I can email those rates to you. So anyway, sir. So we were talking about cleaning up the clutter, cleaning up, I guess, your cash pile clutter, cleaning up the clutter in your mind. What else would you want to discuss?
Yeah, just, it's always nice to clear your head. It's nice to clean your desk. It's nice to clean your warehouse so you can find what you're looking for. So, it's just a matter of cleaning. And if you fall down, get back up. Try to be careful on who you take advice from. Even me. I'm not always right. Just ask my wife.
Bump. Well, I always bring that up, and when I do these shows, and guys, I've only been reselling for several years, and I do it part time, and I have issues due to my health. I don't do as nearly as much as I would like to. In fact, that was one of the topics I wanted to bring up. I know right at this point there's not a lot of people in the chat, but if you're watching a replay and somebody like maybe Tommy Bernard, Tommy is very experienced, and I've talked to Randy about this, and Randy and I have had conversations about this, and I've met Randy at a liquidator, so I want to get involved more into buying wholesale and buying liquidation lots. So if any of you had any success, if you had any suggestions, reach out to me. You can message me. Most of you know I have an email address listed in my description of the video. You can message me on my Facebook business page, which is just AdamsExploits. So if any of you have experience in that, you have any tips, I'm trying to research that, and I'm just having more and more issues, and I'm trying to relate that to other resellers. With the prices of thrifted clothing going up, or I don't even want to sell that much clothing anymore. I actually want to get more into the hard goods. Let's just say with the price of thrift store items going up, at least I know you're in Florida, so you have yard sales probably 10 months out of the year. We only had like 3 or 4 months of yard sales, and like today or Saturday, typical yard sale day, well, it started raining at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. So obviously that was going to happen. There's been other Saturdays that the last couple of months that we've had a lot of rain. So there's not that much opportunity to buy things from yard sales. Thrift store prices are going up. So again, guys, so if any of you have any tips or suggestions, you can leave it in the comments or contact me offline. Just like I said, my contact information is in the description of the video. Okay, sir. Anything else on the Reseller 12-step program you want to discuss?
No, that's pretty much it. I really didn't want it to be a whole lot. I wanted to be, to let you know, hey, if you fall down on something, just get up, make things manageable. Don't stress yourself out. That's not going to really get you anywhere. Make small strides.
So the two big tips that you're kind of bringing up were, do set goals, but don't set unachievable goals, and don't get all bent out of shape if you don't achieve those goals. And also, like I said, try to keep your mind clear. Don't, bleep happens. Try not to get all worked up over it, and try to just deal with it. And that's life. Things happen.
Give yourself small rewards.
That's the other one for you mentioned about.
That's what people do when they play video games. There's a small reward at the end, whether it's a little fireworks show or whatever, and they'll sit there for hours and try to get to the next level just to see that little fireworks show or dancing playing cards or whatever. There's a small reward, and you can do the same thing. People will always try to get you down, and you know what? That's their problem. That's not yours. Your problem is keep your head on. Go on to the next thing. Don't worry about it. Yeah, okay, it's a real pain in the neck, and I know it does get frustrating, and sometimes you can't help it. But don't concentrate on it. Okay, you're better than that. Move on and go forward. If the guy comes up with the stick, that you got to grab and run, if he holds on to it too tight, you're going to get irritated, but you're still going to run the race.
You got to grab that baton.
That's
keep on moving on. All right, folks. So if you're getting value from my channel, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment if you could on this video. I mentioned earlier, if any of you are interested in getting the new shipping rates from USPS, you can message me and I will get you an email with that information to you. Again, if you're getting value from my channel, please consider helping me offset my expenses. I have Buy Me Coffee, PayPal, Cash App, and my guest Randy today also has a very large business. Sells great candies, spices, coffees, etc. Randy's link is in the description of the video as well. So you want to check out Randy's store and look at some of his things that he sells. You want to purchase something, Randy is kind enough to pay me a little commission. at no cost to you if you guys decide to buy something from Randy.
Hey, Adam, don't you have that miracle water that gives people like $40,000 checks in the mail?
No. Well, anyway, there's Beth. Beth, I showed you out a couple of times. What does Lisa have to say? I have a non-reselling related Randy question. Is it true Ferrara pan stop makeup? I'm sorry. Can you read that? Ferrara pan stop making fireballs?
Yes, they have. They've stopped making jawbreakers, or what
Okay,
they
candy
call
question. Okay.
busters. They've stopped making those little round red candies. I forget what they're called. But Ferrara Pan primarily purchased most of Nestle's candy business. Okay. And then Ferrara Pan was bought up by Ferrero Rocher, which makes those little hazelnut balls.
Right. Yeah, they're delicious, by the way. They're pricey, but they're delicious. Not that I should be eating candy, but that's another note.
Many other things. They've stopped making fruit stripe gum. They've stopped making red hot dollars. They used to be those cinnamon type
Yeah,
things.
I remember this. Sure.
And they flavored in cherry. They came out with them. So now they're not red hot dollars. They're who knows what kind of dollars. They've stopped making Mexican hats because they thought that was racist. Because Mexicans shouldn't wear hats, I guess. Yeah, they've stopped a whole lot of popular candies, and nobody knows why. They're really not that easy to deal with, and I have a couple of us who actually buy full trailer loads of product every week from them.
Our friend Beth is going swimming and going to see the show Wicked. Good for you, Beth. Have fun.
Have a wicked good time.
Have a wicked good time. Okay, guys, on that note, just a reminder, if you have any tips on purchasing wholesale or liquidation, please contact me or leave them in the comments of this video below. And then also, again, if any of you would like the information as far as the new postage rates at the USPS that go into effect July 9th, you can message me, and I'll be more than happy to email me you those that information.
And by the way, on a good note in the candy business, they are coming back out with Dad's Root Beer Barrels next week. They were bought by another company since Washburn closed the doors on January 1.
Glenn says they wear sombreros for hats. That's what they call the hats.
Well, maybe they'll rename them Mexican sombreros.
There you go.
Just after siesta time.
Very good. Okay, folks, thanks for joining us, and we shall
night.
see you next time. Take care now.